Hey, what's up, team? It's Navarro, head trader in Stocks Club 13. This is a quick review, technical analysis, and watch list for the coming week and the rest of this week. So today is October 13th. It's Wednesday. So we're gonna go over possible trades for October 14th, 15th, and what we can look forward to next week. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. We have plenty to talk about. You can see my watch list here. There's plenty to go and trade, but again, we gotta wait to see how they open up tomorrow. We'll eliminate the ones that don't work and keep the best four or five up here, and we'll stick to those, right? Regardless of what happens everywhere else, we can't be in the entire market, so we gotta stay micro focused and work with the ones that have the best catalyst, the best setup, the best volume, and where we think most traders are going to be at. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to click here on last. I'm going to start with the penny stocks, move my way up to the larger caps. So we'll start with small caps, finish with large caps. Let's go ahead and get started. Right now, this is a picture, or not a picture, but this is a chart of the S&P 500, the SPY ETF. So this is where we sit currently in the market. We are getting price compression. We'll see what happens in either this week or next week, whether we break out or break down. That is to be seen. Let's go ahead and get going with SONN. Okay, so we already have some targets here, some price levels that are important, but we can see this little cup in action. We see how we got this little cup. We're forming a little handle, so we want to play the handle, play it up to that level, and then of course we might either see a breakout or we might see another little consolidation. But again, from current price to that level is about 10%, guys, so that's not bad, and this can be probably a good hold, a good swing if we're willing to play that. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. We will probably want to enter around this level. So if we go ahead and go into the 10-day 30-minute, we got that level right here. Let me go ahead and get the price level tool. I mean, you can enter already. There's resistance there. You can see that flat top right there, and then you can see this other resistance here. So buy zone anywhere here. Then you've got your next target levels that we spoke about for that cup or that handle to be formed. If we go out to the 20-day 1 hour, we're gonna be able to see that cup and then that handle forming. So that's what we have on SONN. Let's go ahead and change back to the 1 year 1 day. AREC, AREC. This one, guys, oversold pattern. And now what's going on that I like or makes me interested in this pattern? Okay, first of all, again, remember, we want to see an oversold pattern that is trading above all EMAs, the 50, the 20, and the 9, which this is, and it's perfect. It tried to get up here, got rejected again, closed right at the 50 EMA, and now it's trading completely above it, guys. So what can we expect? We can expect a move, and it's got plenty of room to run. But let's go ahead and look at more technicals to see what we're dealing with. All right, now, first of all, if we see this little pattern here, we can already see that it's a vertical wedge. It's pretty much cut and dry. There you have it. So a breakout, we would expect something that would be this, or a breakout this big. Right now, that's usually what we look for. Doesn't work out that way all the time, but it gives us an idea, right? Something that we can look forward to. So if we go ahead and let me just use this trend line. Actually, I like this right now. Let's go ahead and do a little bar the size of this candle here. We're gonna go ahead and activate it, and if it breaks out, guys, look at that. Guess where it's gonna get rejected? Right at the 180. Is it a coincidence, guys? I don't know. Is it gonna break out like that? I hope so, and I hope we catch it. We are ready for it. It's been on my watch list, and you know, it looks like it's setting up. And if it's gonna break, I'd rather it break tomorrow. If it breaks out tomorrow or Friday, because we got earnings coming up, and sometimes investors and traders don't want to trade before earnings is coming up, just because if it's bad news, then this can just crash all the way back down. I'll be holding through it. But if it does break out, guys, even if it doesn't break out this big, if we get any little percentage of this move, which has, well, let's check it out. On the breakout, let's say we enter right here with confirmation, because we have this little high right here, this little rejection as well. So let's go ahead and set our price level. That price level is 240. Let's say we enter at 240 and we exit with a maximum profit potential. That's the maximum I'm talking about on a great breakout. Now, if we look back at this, can it do that kind of move? Yes. Look at this huge gap. Look at this huge candles. Look at this huge. This is even a bigger candle, right? But this is when it got slapped back down. So that's one of the things we got to be aware of. This is showing us that its trading history is something that you don't want to swing trade this, because it tends to not hold patterns, with the exception of this this huge squeeze right here. So if that tends to happen, I would be very surprised this close to earnings, but in the market anything is possible. So again, if that doesn't work, we can see this rejection, support, right? So let's draw another one right here. So we got two price targets, 280, and then we got this possibly 310 area, but we got a good profit taking here. The rest is just leaving a little piece for the possible extension. Guys, that's what I see here on AREC. I'm hoping it's probably just a 1-2 day hold, possibly a day trade. We'll see. It was called out today, so let's be ready for it in case it does break out. It might need 1 or more 2 days, but again, if it doesn't break out this week, hopefully into next week. Now let's move on, because we have a lot to talk about. RSLS. Why did this one catch my eye, guys? Well, you can see huge moves, just ridiculously huge moves, and right now it's got this little pop, my favorite type of swing pattern. Okay, let's go ahead and get this. We got this little pop, we got this move down, and then we got, hopefully we get that A, B, C, D pattern, that little curling action, and a good move to this rejection level, which was current support, as you can see here. So we can use our price level here. That's the 4 level, which coincides with this little trend line that I drew. Now, how much of a percentage potential will that give us? Is it even worth it? Let's go ahead and remove this. If we enter at the top of the previous candle or at the top of today's candle, let's say that $3 level would be fine. Okay, if it breaks through the 50 EMA with good volume, we got a 35% chance. Can this one do that kind of move? Again, just look at previous history, guys. Yes, it can make huge moves in one single day. Look at this candle back here. This is a 1 day move. How big was this move? I don't know. Let's check it out. 185, 190, guys. My goodness. Now, I'm not expecting that kind of move. As you can see, what is the trading history telling us? It made a huge move, but every time it continues making a huge move, the candles get smaller, right? They get smaller. So, you know, a $4 move, possibly right below that $5 level at 475 might be something else we could look for, but we do have the support level, so that, you know, we got to keep that in mind. And again, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying it has a potential to make huge moves. So this has to be in our radar. We do got to be aware that there's that 50 EMA, so that might be something where we will want to take profits as well. You know, anything we can get out of the market is good. Don't be greedy. Take profits when you have them. Okay, that's RSLS. So again, and oh, one more thing that I wanted to mention on this one, guys, because this is going to be a future video where we got the EMA, the 50 EMA and the 20 EMA, and the price is right between them. Sometimes the 9 EMA helps as well. We got this EMA's price compression, which is good, where it's just bouncing around in between them, and then boom, it takes off either to the upside or to the downside. But again, this is something that we would want to see. As we can see in previous trading history, it was never doing that before. Once it gets into this kind of mode, you know, it's usually really good because it can really just pop to the upside and give us a good return. But again, we trade with what we see. We are at a good deal right now because it made a move, and right now it's on that pullback, so we're buying a good deal, guys. Now keep in mind that I do have a 5% loss, stop loss as a trading rule, but it's not set in stone. If you have more risk tolerance and you want to trade off the bottom level here or the 9 EMA, that is completely up to you. Again, you can give it wiggle room as much as you can tolerate, but always keep your losses to a minimum, in my opinion, and that's what, you know, I'm gonna stick to. Now let's go ahead and look at APRE. APRE, guys, man, it's just continues making higher lows. So having said that, guys, let's go ahead and draw a trend line right here. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in. We got this huge gap down, first of all, oversold. So let's keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in. All right, so we've got this gap down level here. Hey, I have the right tool. We got this gap down level 2. We got to keep that that price in our mind. We got this rejection here, but we're gonna go with the open, and then we're gonna kind of set another one up here, and then the top up here. So we got this profit taking zones possibly. Now what else can we do here? We've got this little price action here. We're gonna go ahead and extend this all the way to the left, and we're gonna see how that coincides with everything else that we're looking at. Now let me make this a little bigger. It might be hard to see on your screen, so now let's go ahead and look at this. So we got this rejection levels, which makes sense, right? It's getting rejected right there. Rejection, support, 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 rejection. So you see how this $5.60 level, $5.65 level, that little zone there, that is your supply zone. We spoke about this in our new educational video. We got a little supply zone, so we can edit this, make this red or pink. We got our supply zone. If this supply zone gets broken to the upside, guys, then look at the kind of move this stock can put. So again, with profit taking in mind, first take profit probably the top of this candle or anywhere here, then it's got room to go, guys, if it makes that kind of move. Again, the volume has to be there. Remember that the breakouts work with volume. There's no volume, there is no big breakout. So we have to be ready for this one. We know the supply zone, got to make sure it breaks out and it just continues popping. And again, let's look back at previous trading history for this one. What is the previous trading history telling us? So comes up, it does tend to hold multiple day swings. You can see this multiple day run up. The same here, it's holding that run. So this could be a possible swing trade idea. This could be a possible swing trade idea, guys. If it breaks out, take profits, then maybe a little curl, come back in, take it all the way to the upside. Now we got to keep in mind that there's earnings coming up, so we got to look at that as well. FSEL plug is on the way up, guys. Nothing more to say other than we got this little cup and handle action going, so this can easily break out and take off over this 775 level all the way up to this 180 SMA. But if we think about it, by tomorrow or by the time this breaks out, it's really on a downslope, right? So we might want to take profits at 10 if it even gets there, but 9 would be a good profit taking zone, or first profit taking zone, as you can see where that price action is very important around the 9, where you got this support and resistance level, support and resistance level, support and resistance level. So all the way back here, you know that 9 level is critical. And then of course this might meet up with a $10 level, which of course is another level that is critical, so as previous history has told us. So there we go, guys. Breakout, profit taking. Again, we got to look for the volume and make sure that there's momentum on the way up. It's got that little cup and handle, it's got a double bottom, so we'll see that continues going. MRIN is the next one. Now this one I really don't like that much because This is more like a pump and dump with the Wall Street bets and stuff. You got to be careful with those. There's people who buy down here. There's nothing interesting about the stock, but they start pumping it up because there's a lot of people following them. So they buy it down here, they pump it up, they set it up here, and they come out with an excuse that there's this going on or whatever. By the time you know it, you're left holding the bag, and there you go. So just be careful with those, and just make sure that you're trading with what the pattern is telling you, with what the chart is telling you, and stick to your stop losses, guys. Don't buy into that buy and hold stuff, because that's an easy way that pump and dumpers can get you. Again, you are trying to become a profitable trader, a smart trader. So if you have profits, lock it in. Do not hold it forever. These are penny stocks. They're volatile, and by tomorrow they might be delisted. So just make sure that you're not in that mode where you're doing that. Now, why is this important? Well, because very simply, guys, because it's bouncing off the 50 EMA. I just want to play that 50 EMA bounce, and hopefully just a quick pop up here to this level. So if we look at recent action, we got this kind of double bottom here, bouncing off the 50 EMA. So I just want to make sure that it gets through this. We got this little trend line as well here. We can kind of see it. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. And it's been down for quite a few. So if we get that little pop up to the 550 level, maybe even the 9, it'll be nice. But again, this one, the volume has been declining. So I don't know. It depends on the volume tomorrow. Like I said, it's not something that I am very, very fond of. Don't like it too much. You can see there's hardly any volume. So I would like to see that if it breaks through this upper trend line, that it breaks out with some volume. So let's go ahead and look at the next one, OCGN, guys. Breakout. Now, remember that I've spoken about breakouts. I told you about this one last week and how it was setting up, or actually I told you about this one on Monday, I believe. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, perfect. So I did tell you on this day that it was about to break out. It's got this wedge pattern, broke out, guys, and it's typical for stocks to break out, come back and try to test this level. Now, it did come back down, but it held right above this 825 level, so that's good. Okay, we got some support there, right? Recent rejections become support, or recent resistance levels become support. So now we do want to see that continuation. How far could it go? It could probably go all the way up to the pattern's high on a good push. Now look at the volume, look at the move it made. I am thinking that shorts are in trouble. So if there is more buying pressure because shorts start covering, remember they got to buy to cover. So when shorts cover, they're buying, and that creates more buying pressure, and hopefully we get a move up to that $11 level. I got CLSK, guys. Again, just a simply basic pattern holding its lower trend line. We got this lower trend line. It held this demand, or actually it was a supply zone that became demand, a supply zone that became demand, and in line with the trend line, right? Just coinciding with the trend line. Now we're looking for this supply zone, just a quick pop. This one is optionable, so we can do options as well, because it's coming into another or a previous demand zone. You can see how it was being bought, but then just broke down. Then that became supply, got rejected. So if it comes up here, starts doing this, then we can trade it again to the upside. We'll see what happens. BLNK, guys, just another continuation play and a sympathy play from the plug, the PLUGK trade, plug. So this one, if you look at this pattern, probably thinking, well, what is this guy trading? Why is BLNK here? It looks nothing like a good pattern. Well, it actually does, guys. Let's go ahead and draw some trend lines here. We can actually draw a trend line from here to here, right? Or we can just do simply a straight price level here, where there is the bottom. You got that buy zone here, right? We got a supply zone basically, right? You can see that. Let me take this out of here. Now we got that supply zone. Let's go ahead and draw this. So we got demand, and I said supply zone previously, guys. It's a demand zone. It's where it gets bought. So don't listen to what I said previously. It is a demand zone. It is a demand zone. It's where it gets bought. Got bought, took off, came back down. This is where demand came in. Got bought, took back off to the upside, came back down into the demand zone, went up, and guess what it's doing right now? It's out of the demand zone. It's coming back up, and it's also a sympathy play to plug. So this one, guys, look for a potentially big move to the upside. We got some resistance here, so maybe that's a profit target area that we can look at, because this is previous rejection, right? So maybe that's something that we can look at that 35 level on a good move, because that's where we see some previous rejections. Now we do have this zone here, guys, so let me go ahead and draw it for you right now. We've got this demand zone. Demand zones can become supply zones, so it might just get up here and again get rejected. So we got to be aware of that, and we got to make sure that we know what we're trading and getting ourselves into. Now that we are starting to understand supply and demand, we can be more aware of where to take profits, and if it continues, where to add or where to re-enter. So if it comes here, take profits. If it starts consolidating or breaks out of here, then we'll buy it again and just continue the momentum. Dkmg, why do I like this one? Again, same thing. It did have an upward trend. Now it's on a downward trend. Looks like it wants to reverse, but let's see what happens here. I'm not ready to buy. Again, we got to look at those supply and demand zones. We got a demand zone here, demand zone, supply. It became supply, then became demand again, right? So we got a more likely a general zone where supply and demand kind of converge with each other. So if it breaks to the upside, calls. Breaks to the downside, puts. Set your alerts, be ready for it. And I'm looking at that. We got the 20 EMA, we got that 5120 level, 51.20 level. If it breaks that level to the upside, if it breaks below that 48 level, puts. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Now, where can we take profits? We can see a rejection here, and we can see a rejection here. So we can build a supply zone right there. We got our demand zone down there. Our supply zone is going to be probably just slightly smaller, but again, with options, guys, a move like this can be really profitable. So, just be aware of what we're trading, what our entries are, where our exits can be. So Dkmg Amd, guys, just a beautiful pattern. Traded this one before. And what's going on? Well, let me see if I have the trend line. We'll talk about supply and demand right now. Let's just talk about the general direction that this one took off in. You got this zone right there. Not only that, it broke above it, came back and tested the trend line, and look at what happened. We talked about this with OCGN. It broke out, tried to come back down and test the trend line, and then it's taking back off. Now this one broke out, came back and tested it more than once, and now it's taking off, guys. So we can expect some continuation to the upside. How far? Well, we got a rejection here, we got a rejection there. So that 114 level, sorry guys, I had the wrong tool. That 114 level, and there's another one here. So we got our supply zone, right? Rejection. So that's our supply zone. That's where profit taking can happen. If it breaks above the supply zone, then that becomes demand, and then we can go ahead and buy it again. For now, let's color this one pink. Okay, all right. Now right here, guys, let me go ahead and remove this trend line. You can see also this little flag pattern, right? So if you coincide, or if you kind of put two and two together, the upper trend line breakout, and then how it was consolidating above it, it was holding support above it, you got a supply zone. So let's go ahead and look at the 5-day, 15 minute. Here's the breakout. There's the first touch, right? So that's your first support. Came back down. Here's your second touch. So we got second support, and tested it again. So this becomes your demand zone. This is where it gets bought. Got bought. Buyers come in, they push the price up. Buyers come in, they push the price up. And then we got the breakout out of this upper trend line in this mini flag pattern. And guess what? It's the first day, and this one tends to continue moving higher. So that's what I'm looking for in AMD, continuation tomorrow with option calls. Now I can look at this level here where it's getting bought back up. Okay. And if it comes back in and holds that level, then I will buy it again. I'll buy it here, or I'll buy it at the breakout of 110. So I got two buy zones again. I got this one and the possible breakout for continuation on AMD. I know there's a lot to talk about, guys, but you can pause and rewind this video, get your notes, write your notes down, be ready for the market tomorrow. Anything can happen. Again, these are just ideas. I'm not telling you what to buy, what to sell, but you at least have your notes. If it's working, go for it. If it's not, then don't worry about it. Move on to a different stock. Okay, now Nvda, guys, it's a beautiful pattern. It's actually one that I like a lot, and I'm gonna show you why. I'm just gonna remove this, and of course, I'm gonna leave that one up there. But right now, guys, let's look at just what's going on right now. What's going on? So if you remember, AMD broke out, was flagging. Well, let's talk about what's going on here. We can draw an upper trend line right here. Wrong tool. We can draw that upper trend line, and if it breaks out, guys, over the EMAs, we got room to run. We have room to run. Let's look at the 20-day. You see that beautiful pattern right there, and then you've got this pattern right here, guys. So again, look for entries. Looking for entries. So if tomorrow we got this little rejection, so we can do that as a supply zone that can possibly become demand. And it actually is, because it did get bought right there. There's that rejection here. So if we extend this all the way back to this side over here, we can see how this zone here was demand, supply, demand, supply, and now possibly if it breaks out, demand, right? So that's what we're looking for, and we do have this level up here, way up here, but again, we want to take profits when we have them. We can probably use this level here to maybe 220, where we got the bottom here, where it was previous support, can become previous, or can become future resistance. So that 220 level, guys. So hopefully we can get a move all the way up there. In any case, profit taking on the way up with call options. Last one but not least, 1 day 3 CRW, guys, breakout, looking for that second day continuation to test the highs, the 52-week highs. There's nothing to this other than it's right at a resistance level, guys. So this was a previous supply that can now become, if it doesn't continue tomorrow, we can look for that zone to become demand and possibly continue higher. That is it for me, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.